Hey everybody, welcome back. That's my name. This is my channel. I'm Cole, and welcome back to Tales from the Shelf, our comic book podcast where we read a book every month and talk about it. And you can read along if you'd like. Stick around to the end for the next book. We'll reveal that towards the end of the episode, if not at the very end. And this month we did Spider-Man Reign, and that's the book we're going to be talking about today. And this was an interesting one for sure. I think at the top of the episode, because I don't think there's much housekeeping to do other than, like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the comment. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content, not the comments. Other than that, not much housekeeping to do for me, and I think I'll pass it over to you, my faithful co-host, to give us a little summary of the book, and then we'll get into our discussion.
Spider-Man Reign. Let's talk about it. This is the Dark Knight Returns of Spider-Man, and it is not done as skillfully, as artfully, or as anything as well as Dark Knight. I will say though, this is I think a book that probably gets a little maybe overhated in the grand scheme of things.
Sure, I would say so.
I don't think it's the worst book ever. I think it's a mediocre book overall. But let's just talk about the story.
Yeah, why don't you just give us a story summary and we'll jump in.
So yeah, the story of course starts out with a old wizened Peter Parker who's kind of in a weird part of his life where now he is kind of dealing with the death of Mary Jane in the worst way possible by kind of visioning her as like still there.
He's like
and
hallucinating
having,
her.
Yeah, it's really weird. And then we are in a basically I don't know. It's like almost a utopia, New York City, a dystopian more.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
like
utopia.
overall is like what they're calling it is like almost a utopia.
It's like a false utopia.
Oh, no,
It's a police state,
yeah.
though.
Yeah. There's no crime, but there's no heroes. And it's kind of a almost puppeted government. We'll talk about that a little later. But yes, it is a dark story in Spider-Man, which is not a dark character for the most part. I mean, there's some Craven's Last Hunt and stuff like that, but it's not as dark of a character. Like this book is probably darker than 90% of Spider-Man, I would say.
Sure, I would be sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it isn't as lighthearted. There's still some, you got your quippy, jokey Peter Parker, who's now I don't remember if it says how old he is. He's got to be into like his 70s or something.
He can't be that old because his villains and other characters are also really old but still alive.
Yeah, he's. But I do think that his villains, like that prison they put them in, is like somehow kept them young. Because if you look, like Sandman is not that old looking. Um,
Well, it's also
Scorpion.
like I felt like it was implied too that maybe Peter also like is aging. Not like he's aging faster in like some supernatural way, but because he's like so fucked up about the Mary Jane thing that he's just like let go of himself.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
And then
really
we
ever
got
give like a consistent like timeline of how long it's been or how old everybody is, because we also see Jameson and he would be
yeah,
40, well, maybe like 20 years older than Peter.
yeah. J. Jonah Hitlerson.
Oh my god, he
This
looks like
book.
Hitler in this book.
Yeah, he's got
It's
a
actually
big mustache.
insane. But let's finish the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You can finish up that, because honestly, if you're not
So
reading along, I want to give you like a little bit of what goes on.
so basically what happens is J. Jonah Jameson comes back, trying to, or basically discovering that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and he's trying to get him to come back because I think his reasons are, in my opinion, are more. Uh, I don't want to say like I think they're more altruistic. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah,
like it's him going for. He's not happy about the Bugle turning into what it is, more than I feel like it is him just being mad at the government, almost.
I think it's both. I think
Yeah,
Jonah. I think, and we'll get probably into this. I think the implication is that Jonah, because he has like some kind of journalistic integrity, and it like feels like he wants to tell the truth and he wants to show people the truth. He feels like bringing Spider-Man back will kind of instill that into like the populace to like want the truth and like rebel against this weird totalitarian police state in New York.
yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think it is kind of weird because he's so anti Spider-Man for the 90% of what you know of J. Jonah Jameson,
Mhm.
or probably like 75. I'd say there's definitely a decent amount of J. Jonah Jameson in more, probably like the past 20 years that's more lighthearted,
Yeah.
or that like kind of side knows about Peter. But yeah, let's just so where we left off is J. Jonah Jameson is trying to convince him to take up the reins of Spider-Man, and in doing so, is kind of inciting a like riot outside of
Children.
Peter's home. Um, well, the first one is just like him getting the absolute shit beat out of him by like smacking a car.
Yeah, yeah, but it's then revealed that he has like an army of children that he is like inciting to like fight
Yeah,
against the government.
yeah. But the first time with that is just him getting hit the shit beat out of him from a cop,
Yeah.
and then Peter being like, "Oh shit, I do want to help people," and he basically jumps out, dons just the mask and the heart white tidy or boxer briefs or whatever you want to say, boxers. I think they are just boxers.
Yeah, yeah.
And goes with this black mask, which I think is one of the worst parts of this book. That mask looks terrible.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like Spider-Man at all.
I think that's kind of the
Um,
point though, because they say like, oh, wasn't he supposed to have a red mask?
yeah,
I think it's also foreshadowing.
yeah, yeah. I just wish it would have had like some webbing on it, even if it was a black mask. Just have like a little bit of webbing on it to still make it look like Spider-Man. Like it really doesn't look like. It just looks like a generic hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
still has like the
But anyway,
Spider-Man
he saves
eyes.
Jonah.
Yep, saves Jonah, and Jonah then goes. Now discovering that Spider-Man's back, he goes back to his church with the kids, and of course we're following like a little subplot in there too, with which you'll later find out is Sandman's daughter. Um, I don't know what you cement woman.
Yeah, she has a name. I forget what it is. I can look for it while you tell the story. But anyway, she
Um,
joins up into Jonah's kind of like group of like
Cult.
revolutionary children.
Yeah, his child cult, which is kind of cool how they set it up. Like I will say, there's one thing about this story that is like they do really good foreshadowing without like spoiling. I would say almost like going to that church and seeing the bell and stuff like that. And it's like kind of a like thing. You're like, oh well, this is like such a church state. You can't even have your free like ideals or anything. Like there's no religion, kind of stuff like that. Like you think like, oh, it's shut down. Not really
We
going
should
to.
also mention throughout all of this, throughout most of the book, we're also getting the very Dark Knight Returns style like TV news broadcast
Oh
of
yes,
these like clearly like state endorsed news broadcasters on the Daily Bugle network,
yes,
who are like raving about the leader of this like current government in New York. I think his name is Waters, Mr. Waters,
yes.
and he's gonna put up some like electrical shield around the city to keep people out and keep people in. I don't know if they explicitly say that
Yeah.
it's to keep people in.
They do say we're keeping people in, and like you can't leave and you can't come in. Basically, like we want because if there's like no heroes in there now, no heroes are ever going to be able to get in there. And of course, this is called the Web, of course, because of Spider-Man.
Right, Spider-Man, epic Spider-Man moment.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of just
I couldn't find her name.
gets to a big climax though when you kind of when Jameson actually convinces them to have a big riot in the streets by hacking. Basically, he hacks the Daily Bugle and puts out that Spider-Man's back and everything's crazy. So that a big riot incites. Everybody's supposed to stay inside because this is the big night of the release of Web, basically.
Well, no, it wasn't going to be. They pushed it up because of the riot.
Okay. I thought it was just pushed up like time wise. I thought it was still supposed to be that like night, but they pushed it up time wise is what I thought it was.
They pushed it up time-wise, and then because of the riot, they decided to do it like early.
Yeah.
But it's like a thing they're building up to, regardless.
Yeah. And basically this riot happens. The big thing that happens during this riot is I guess I forget the guy's name, Funky Man.
Oh yeah, I don't know who that character is. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
an existing Spider-Man character or not, but there's this like old man who is like a 70s funk disco, inspired character, and he wears a mask. And then he gets beat up by the cop. Yeah, he's called I have the page right here. The Godfather of Funk makes a comeback. The Hypno Hustler.
Yeah, the Hypno Hustler.
So maybe that is a Spider-Man character that I've never seen before, but either way, he gets the shit kicked out of him. I think they kill him, actually.
Yeah, they do kill him, and then that's when all shit
I'm sorry, we should say, who kills him are the enforcers of the state, which I don't think we mentioned before. They're called the Rain. Whatever, it doesn't matter. They kill him, and that kind of incites the riot of, like, Jonah and his people.
And Spider-Man finally coming out and joining them, which leads to it kind of is, I think, slightly before when they're talking about doing it, they go down to like this secret vault of villains and basically release them and tell them to hunt Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because they already got that, like, I think previous report. I believe it's not based on because he comes out at that time. I think it's the previous report and them already knowing that this city's going to be on high alert. So they want these villains to cause chaos to also convince them that Webb's also a good thing. It's like the mix of the two. Almost.
Yeah, it's like a false flag type thing, basically.
Yeah.
They're like basically inciting the violence. And it was almost like they were banking on Spider-Man showing up, which is really weird. I guess once we get to the end, I guess they kind of are, because the person pulling all the strings kind of wants that to happen.
Yep.
But it's like, it's really kind of stupid that they bank it on like Spider-Man coming back. It's like, what if he's just dead?
Yeah. Well, I think now after seeing him...
Oh, right, because he had come out... You're right. Yeah, he'd already been revealed once.
And then, of course, so Spider-Man pops out after Hypno Hustler gets killed and starts fighting the Rain soldiers, which leads these... I don't know if they're called the Sinister Six, but it's basically the Sinister Six in this...
It's an assortment of Spider-Man characters, and there are 6 of them.
Yes. And they start fucking shit up, and they're fighting the children, the rioters, and Spider-Man. And Spider-Man starts getting the shit kicked out of him. One kid gets absolutely murdered by Scorpion.
Kraven. It's Kraven.
Is it Kraven? Oh, yeah.
Kraven, like, impales a child.
Yeah. Sorry. I
was so shocked when I read that page. I was like, what?
Yeah, sorry. I was thinking, because... I think mainly because I'm watching Hunter x Hunter right now, and just like in the Chimera Ant arc, like the dude is a Scorpion character, so I'm just like think of impaling people.
It's crazy to me because I feel like it's like the most out of character thing that happens in this whole book. Because like I just don't feel like Kraven would just impale a child for no reason.
Yeah, but he was hacking, dude.
That's true. Also, he was, and I guess they also, we should mention, the members of the Sinister Six or Spider-Man villains, whoever they are, they kind of have like a Suicide Squad thing where they have like bombs implanted in them, so that if they don't do the bidding of Mr. Waters and like the government, then they'll just kill them. So I guess there is like an impetus for them to be more violent than usual.
Also, I do want to bring up, because I think when I was like just rereading the thing, it was saying this is led by Kingpin. And I was like, rereading, I was like, no, that really doesn't happen. But I don't know if this guy right here, this little character...
That is Kingpin.
Yeah, that is diabolical.
It's Kingpin, but he's like a bag of skin who like can't do anything, but they're like keeping him alive. That part is really like, it happens for like a second, then they never bring it up again.
Yeah, there's like no payoff to it.
I will spoil, I know in the sequel to Reign, Kingpin appears again.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the second one is the one that has to do with Kingpin, and that's why I was confused.
Yeah, the second one involves Kingpin. So,
but yeah, you kind of come to this point now where Spider-Man's getting the shit beat out of him, and he is saved by an unlikely accomplice. Kind of saved. I don't really understand. Like, I think he is trying to save him from like the old knowledge of it's Dr. Octavius, Doc Ock, who saves him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a mixed bag, whether he is bad or not. The thing that really disappoints me is because we kind of get this, after this whole thing happens, Doc Ock basically takes him to the grave of Mary Jane, and that's when you find out that he splooged inside Mary Jane and gave her cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think if that text bubble was not there, this story would not be so memed upon. Because, like, in all honesty, I think the Mary Jane stuff is, like, some of the most compelling part of the story. and
Yeah.
like the way he envisions her, and like how it turns out what her last words really were.
Yeah, I do think even if it I do think even if they could have had like most of that text bubble in there, I think it's like cool. Like him being around her all the time is
Yeah,
fine.
they didn't have to say
Just that
all of
little
my bodily fluids. Like it's just so like
Yeah.
it just feels like it was trying to like make like a cheeky joke about it, and then it almost like fucks itself over in that way. Because I honestly think, and when we get into the more of the discussion section, like I think that Mary Jane stuff is some of the best stuff in the book.
Yeah. But then at the same time, parallel to this Doc Ock taking Peter back to his wife's grave, now we run into J. Jonah Jameson getting into the Reign headquarters or the mayor's headquarters, and he goes crazy, dude. He shanks the fucking mayor in the throat.
Yeah, he just fucking slits his throat. Well, I think he stabs him in the throat. But
yeah, and that's when you find out that the like vice mayor guy, he tries stabbing him in the stomach, and you find out, oh shit, it's Venom.
it's Venom.
And it does skip past this. MJ gets knocked out of her coffin, which is kind of diabolical.
Yeah.
And it goes into that kind of flashback section a little bit. There is another gross section in this that I think also does not help this comic, is this little section where she like kisses him.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Didn't need that.
No. No. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. I think. Yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah. Anyway, so this all happens, but it does reinvigorate him to be Spider-Man.
Yes, and we find out Venom is basically, he wants to plot that now he's going to send out all the symbiotes to basically pull a Spider-Man 2 on his ass. And
Spider-Man 2, the video game, by the way, is what
Yes.
you're talking about.
And try and infect all the people. So
they're using all the, and actually we should also mention earlier they say like all the bells and all the ornaments and stuff on buildings had to be taken off and like taken away for the web to work, and it's obviously just because that's Venom's weakness, because the church that Jonah was at still has a bell, and they use it during the riot. The kids use it to stave off the symbiotes.
yes, and of course now you know the big thing is that the web is kind of more like to keep people from coming in, and the thing that's supposed to keep people from leaving is to become a venomized hive mind, basically.
Right.
And you basically, okay, one thing I will say that disappointed the fuck out of me that I really wish would have been different is it seems like it's playing up like that Peter could get Doc Ock's arms and become like Iron Spidery.
Yeah, I was wondering
like
because Doc Ock says he was going to give him the arms.
Yeah, and it's
and
like
then he doesn't
really
get
weird.
him. And it would have made sense because he's older now, so like it would have been actually helpful to him.
Yeah, and it just kind of ruins it. And then it
But also,
kind of
I will say this in that section, and I will just do this talk about this now. In that section, he also says like he wants to like get Peter's body or something, or like basically like live through Peter's body. And I wonder if this came out before Superior Spider-Man, because sounds very like Superior Spider-Man to me. And I don't know if Doc Ock ever tried to steal Peter's body before, but I just found that like an interesting connection. And also, I don't know if this is implying that the arms are alive.
Yeah, I think that's what it's implying, is that the arms are alive and they want to have a live host.
Right.
And I think that's why he wants to give him, like, I think they still partially have Doc Ock's memories.
Yeah.
Partially.
Well, that's why I think like maybe he didn't take the arms, because he didn't want like to be infected and like become Doc Ock.
Yeah. Which I think would have been cool. But basically then you basically just see the whole town get swarmed by the Venom symbiotes, like all the fucking different symbiotes. And you see the little girl. Did you get her name?
No, I couldn't find it.
Okay.
But it's Sandman's daughter.
Yes. And you see her basically run to the church to try and escape this. She ends up getting trapped in the corner with the bell, rings the bell, and stops the symbiote. So then they basically plot up the big plan to push towards the tower and ring the bell, which is where you get into her. When she rings the bell the first time, though, you get to see one of the biggest abominations of this whole story, Venom. God damn, is it the worst design of Venom I've ever seen?
Yeah, what is the like tumor on Venom's back. I don't understand.
Yeah, I really hate it.
I'm not sure. There's some weird art choices. Now, I don't know. It's possible that that is supposed to be like Venom is like forming or something.
Yeah.
Because that's not what Venom looks like later when we get the
Yeah,
fight.
well, there's scenes where he looks like that though. Like still there's or portions where he looks like that.
Yeah, it's
and then of course
confusing.
I guess I didn't mention previous to that. You see Peter come out in the old classic red and blue Spider-Man,
Which is a
suit.
great triumphant moment because it's also part of that is he has this flashback with Mary Jane, and basically we get to see what happened where she was in the hospital with cancer, and he hears the police sirens and people getting hurt, and he's like at the window, and he's like, "I'll be right back, I promise." And he's like, "I'll bring flowers," and she says, "Go," and then he doesn't hear the rest of it, and he just goes, and when he comes back, she's gone, and for like his whole life, you know, the reason he's so fucked up is because he thought, like, you know, maybe she was going to say something else, or he should have stayed, and he's beating himself up about it. And we get, whether it's in his mind or not, we get what she was really saying was, "Go get him, Tiger," like her classic line. And that, like, she loves that he's Spider-Man because he helps people, whatever.
Yeah.
And that, like, reinvigorates him to be Spider-Man, and he goes to the Reign headquarters to fight the rest of the villains. Which is, I would say the final act of this is pretty good.
Yeah, also I think that whole thing with Mary Jane is actually like, so you have the part where her bed's open, but I think that's later. I think that is past when he gets the blue suit.
Oh, is
I
that
am correct.
a later flashback?
Yeah, I do believe that's like a little later. That's while he's fighting Venom. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we're a little out of order, but essentially that is what happens.
Yeah, and then basically all it leads up to is he goes beats the ass of the his classic line of villains till he gets to Venom. And then while that's happening, Sandman is actually like the Rain like lead guy on the ground. He sees the kids push up. The what is the Venom guy's name?
Well, it's not. It's the Mr. Waters or whatever is the like fake politician who's like running everything.
Because who's Venom?
He's some other guy. I don't know, but it's Venom.
Yeah.
Anyway, they order Sandman to shoot the children basically because they're ringing the bell.
Yeah, and basically he's like, dude, I don't want to kill kids. He's like trying to tell them to stop, and they're like, we won't stop.
And they're like, we'll kill you because you got a bomb in your neck.
Yeah, and then he starts shooting. I think they start shooting at the kids, but then his daughter basically cements, and he realizes, oh shit, this is my daughter. And then she basically dies anyway. It seems like because it doesn't really. This comic has a way of showing things and then never giving you payoff.
There's a weird thing of like not explaining what happens with things that happens. I think more towards the end of the book.
Yeah, and I think it is like weird being a 4-issue arc. Like that's a little short. Like I feel like this could have been a 6.
I feel like it should not have been 6. I feel like if this was 6, it would be worse.
Well, I guess that's true.
I feel like that it's short and sweet is what helps it because trying to like drag this out would have hurt it a lot. I think
maybe to have like I don't know. I just like there's so many plot holes and I'm like, what is happening? And maybe it's more explained in Brain 2.
Sandman, after his daughter, he tries to teach her how to use her powers in the final moments to like reconstitute her body, and she's unable to do it. She passes, and then I think it's cool because we always see Sandman as kind of this guy who's like always riding that line of being good and bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck this. So he goes to the Reign headquarters as well. And Spider-Man's fighting Venom, and he realizes he's going to have to like sacrifice himself. And he's like, Mary Jane, I'll be with you soon. And then as he's going to sacrifice himself, well, first, Sandman gets the detonator for the bombs that they have in their necks. I forget who has it. Who does he get it from?
I think he gets it from Waters.
Yeah, but he gets the detonator, and he like shows up with Spider-Man, and basically like he's like he walks into the crowd of Venoms and blows them all up.
Yes.
But it also looks like they blow the whole fucking building up, which I'm like, did he like set bombs in the building?
No, because you got to remember, Harry, Peter knocked out all the other villains who were also in that building, like throughout miscellaneous floors.
Yeah, you're right.
Whatever. I'm just gonna set that down. But yeah, it basically ends off. Then you get like a little bit of a fun little ending where you see Peter beat a bad guy, and then you get. I think that's when you get the final quotes of like "Go get him, Tiger" thing. As
Yeah, you
well.
get the final end of that Mary Jane stuff. You also get to see Jameson is back at the Bugle and he hates Spider-Man again.
Yeah, classic, dude.
And you get to see like Spider-Man is still like stopping villains. They're stopping like robbers and stuff like that. And he's like back as Spider-Man. And it's a sweet little ending that you have there. So that's basically the premise. I guess after the premise, like what is your feeling on this book overall?
So I read it a while back, like probably 2 years ago, and I think I talked to you about it already. I was like, it's honestly like not that bad. Like as much as people shit on it, it's not that bad. And then rereading it, I was like, yeah, it's like it's not an easy reread. I'll say that it's not like something I would return to for a long time unless I was like, let me check out Spider-Man Reign 2. If someone said something like good about it, you know what I mean? Which I haven't heard anything about
for
it.
Me,
so.
For me being like my first read through. I obviously knew a little bit about this book from, just internet stuff and hearing about it. And so I was going in with a little bit of a tainted feeling, but I try to put that aside when I'm reading something for the first time. And I did. And you know what? Like, I do think this book gets way too much hate. It has its weird little moments and weird, like, writing choices, but kind of so does everything. And I think it's actually, like, pretty good for what it's trying to be. I would say, the art, and I think we were kind of talking about this before the show a little bit, but the art is a little spotty. Like, there are some parts of the art that are really good. I think honestly, all the Spider-Man stuff, like, when he's actually Spider-Man, is really good.
Dude, I think, like, I will say, it is, like, his blue and red suit is, like, some of the best parts art-wise.
Yeah.
Like, it looks good. The parts when his suit is getting, like, obliterated look sick.
And I think the villains, all the villains look great.
Minus Venom during some points.
Well, yeah.
I will say, the only thing I didn't like, I didn't like Mysterio's mask. I think everybody else worked.
Yeah, but that's like a 5, like, I think, I was going to say 5 seconds, like a one panel.
Yeah.
But I think some of the faces in general are just really odd.
I will say, I think that section that is really cool, and one of a really cool fan moment or service moment, not like in the Japanese way, like actual fan service, is that section with Kraven when Kraven like gives the hallucinogen to him, like he basically causes the whole room, and instead of being scared, Spider-Man is like, let me thug this shit out and sprint at him and like face my fears, and just scares the fuck out of Kraven. Dude, I was like, damn, that's actually like a cool way of doing it.
I think one of my favorite parts about this whole book is kind of what you're saying, and I think this is the real strength of this book, is when he's Spider-Man, it's almost doing the Batman thing where it's like a different personality. Because like when he's like this old man, this frail old man who's like guilty and upset, that's like the Peter Parker side of him. And then when he puts the suit on, every time he puts the suit on, he starts quipping, he starts beating people's fucking ass, and he's like in his element. And that final confrontation when he goes after all the villains and he takes them all out in like 4 pages, because he knows them, because he's fought them so many times. Like, he's talking the whole time about like how easy it is because they're so predictable. And like, I think that stuff is some of the best stuff, that like he's still Spider-Man, he's always Spider-Man, and like Spider-Man is his own character. Yeah, because that's not Peter.
Yeah, I think like even I would say like the early stuff is like kind of mediocre with the old Peter Parker. The later, like honestly, I think this whole story weaker in the first 2 issues than the last 2 issues.
Yeah,
the last 2 issues pick it up tenfold, and I will say, like it's just like the weird thing about Mary Jane. It's like weird. Not that like I think some of it is kind of whatever, like him like basically envisioning her. And I do like, one thing I do like is the section where he's like imagining her, and he's like, pack your bags, and then it's her like pointing out the window, and he's like, oh yeah, like I can't let these people be hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he basically has the realization, like, I have the power to stop this. Why am I not doing it?
Well, and I think, the whole early half of the book, I think like I was saying earlier when we were talking about the story, but like, I think the Mary Jane stuff is some of the other strongest part of this book, is because it kind of like leads you to believe that maybe Mary Jane was resentful of Peter, and that's why he's so guilty. And then I think the twist in that she was always supportive and she did love Peter, and that it's all in his own head that he's like making himself feel bad about it, really works. And it's like really powerful. And I think it's like, you know, people give this book a lot of shit like on the internet about like all the like, you know, spider cum and stuff like that. But like beyond the weird one or two lines here or there about like things, I think actually that's like the best part of the book. Like story wise, like writing wise, and as far as like Spider-Man's character is concerned.
Yeah, I honestly think like this kind of feels like something, and I will say like for you and me, like just for fun writing stuff, is like you start out with like a fun idea that's like bullshitty, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then you realize like, damn, like I can actually make this something. And like, so you kind of change your tone. That's almost what this feels like.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's writing it to like, he's like, yeah, like this will, you know, old Spider-Man, whatever. It's kind of dumb and like fun. And then he's like, oh shit, like this can actually like be something not terrible.
Yeah, it almost feels like there is like a realization at a certain point in this book that it's like, oh, this like actually has something to say. Because I also think like, and I'm not going to get like super political in this video or this episode or anything, but I do think the story in this, while it is not as good as something like V for Vendetta or The Dark Knight when it comes to talking about politics stuff or like the subtext of politics stuff, it's definitely doing that similar thing. And I think the message in this one is actually like very prescient, weirdly enough. Because it's like the people in New York are just like completely okay with like a very obvious police state that has taken all of their rights away. And it's just very interesting to me. I think it actually works really well.
I will say, like, it is cool to, like, see, and I'm not, like, I'm not supporting police states, but I think there is, like, almost a good nuance to it, in a sense, where it's like, well, damn, like, there is something that could be, like, this is kind of convincing that they might let this happen.
Well, because of the superheroes and because of all the damage it caused and stuff. Like, there is, like, all this pretext.
Yeah, so it's like, this is believable in this universe to a sense, and that they banned superheroes, and now they have, like, you know, people would think, oh, it's a good idea at first kind of thing, and then, like, realize how much it's damaging them.
Yeah.
And that they want in the end, they want their friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right. Like, maybe things weren't so bad. Like, maybe we could have made it work. Yeah, sorry.
I'll let you. I was just gonna like quote a line in here that I actually like.
Yeah, go.
Was the part when J. Jonah Jameson starts talking about again? He says, "Curfew laws have been abandoned. And people like me are allowed to have a voice again. No, we're not safe. None of us. The super terrorists are loose again. God bless them." And like. It's kind of, and then you get to see like Spider-Man like back in action. Like I think that's just like a cool little.
Well, I think it's like you know the subtext of that is like the price of freedom, the price of like being able to like be a human being without like you know because if you want that perfect world where everything is controlled, then you're not free. You're not able to. And I think that's Jonah's whole like arc. And I picked up this book. I talked about it in a previous video that I was reading this. I might have talked to you a little bit about this. It's called Into the Buzzsaw. It's all these like. Essays and articles from like old school investigative journalists during like the Iraq War era about like media censorship and stuff like that. And having been reading this very recently, and then like this whole J. Jonah Jameson arc in this book was very interesting to me because I like that Jonah is like that old school journalist guy where even though he might not always have like the right opinions as far as like the reader is concerned or whatever, you know, he like cares about the truth and he like wants people to like see it and like it's important to him. And I think that's what's so like great about that ending where he's like back doing his thing because like that quote that you just quoted, like he's saying, like I think what it's saying there is like, yes, we have all these problems and yes, things go wrong, but like it's better to be free and be able to have that voice than to have it taken away from you.
Yes. And I will say one thing I actually did like about this is I do like, to me at least, like I love Dark Knight Returns, almost said Dark Knight Rises. I do love this book, but honestly, like I feel like other than just like telling you what's happening in the world, the newscasters don't really have a point. Where I feel like in Rain that
they're actually giving exposition.
Yes, they're giving like they give exposition in this too, but like it shows you motivation of why J. Jonah Jameson would want to do all this.
Yeah. His story actually connects to the broadcast, is what you're saying. So it's a little more like,
and you know.
Yeah, I love this book. I'm never going to say from a writing perspective that Spider-Man Reign is better than The Dark Knight Returns. No. But I think they're about different things. Like, I think
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns is more about Batman and like his story and like the more personal story of that, whereas this has that with Spider-Man. But I think the larger story of this is trying to be a little bit bigger and like have like a bigger message to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I really want to, and I don't think we talked about this at all, but something I actually want to see is because I read the first issue, and I thought it was like kind of interesting, is how they pulled off with Cold Day in Hell for Daredevil.
Oh
basically
yeah.
his Dark Knight Returns. I want to see how they pulled that off too.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that
Uh,
on the channel at some point. I'm
yeah,
down.
because I know
think
that
it's
was
interesting.
getting, I think that was getting like huge, like they were selling that like gangbusters. Because like
Yeah,
went
I
to my
saw a
comic
lot
shop
about it.
like every time I went in there, it came out. Like if I went on like instead of a Wednesday, I went on a Thursday or something like that. There was no one's to be seen. They're like, yeah, they're on back order for a
Damn.
while. So
I didn't know it
like,
was
yeah.
that popular, but yeah, I saw some people talking about it. It seems interesting. I mean, honestly, after
It-
reading this, I'm really interested to read that and see like where they took the Daredevil version.
Yeah, and I do think too that it could be Marvel like looking at something like this and be like, well, we got so much backlash for that. Let's not print as much as this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it turned out to be like some people want to see this kind of stuff, and I don't like I said, I think this is an overhated comic
Yeah.
by far. I don't think it's perfect.
Well, I love Elseworld
But-
stuff. Listen, I want more of this kind of stuff all the time in everything because I think give a writer their own little universe to play around in. Like this is self-contained. If you want it to be the end of Spider-Man's story, it can be. If not, it's just another Spider-Man story off in some other universe, and I think that's fine and interesting. And like do the thought experiment, like take that formula and throw it on some other characters. I really want to do that Avengers Twilight, the like Dark Knight Returns for the Avengers as well. I thought that sounded really interesting.
One thing I think would be cool since they're being so multiversal about Spider-Man 2 is to see a young Peter Parker interact with this Peter Parker.
He
Would be
might have
like,
been
if
in
you're gonna do
Spider
something
Verse.
like- I know.
Actually,
What?
I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly, but the Rain Spider-Man may have been in Spider Verse.
Okay, I didn't know because I was like, this would be kind of
At least in like a tie-in or something, he might have been in it. I can't remember though, so don't like say that for sure. But that would be interesting to see that.
Yeah,
I know I will spoil a little bit, like not spoil, but I know about Rain 2. It's time travel. There is time travel involved.
Weird.
But I don't know if he interacts with himself or not. I can't be sure of that. I don't know because I haven't read it.
Yeah, I just think it'd be interesting because you have like this old wizened, basically Peter Parker at this point.
Yeah. I wanted to say something about this, talking about like other heroes and stuff though. That's the weird thing about this. This has to exist in one of those like movie style universes where there's just Spider-Man, I feel like. Because like where are the other characters? And like what is going on outside of New York, or like where I wish we got like just a little more context about what is happening in the rest of the world. Because they make it sound like some crazy shit happened that like caused all of this, but it's like just New York City.
Yeah, well, because I think they say at other points like, oh, other places want to be like us now.
Yeah.
And not have superheroes there. So there are still other superheroes in the world that we kind of
They're just
know
not in New
exist.
York.
Yeah, like they were kicked out of New York or whatever. And probably at this time, the Avengers already have hard enough time in the comics staying together for,
Well, true.
So
Yeah, when did
like
this?
something
When
like
was
that.
Spider-Man released? Actually, I didn't do my back research that I should have for this one. Is this like Civil
see.
War era? Let's see. 2006. That would have been the year Civil War came out. So
Yeah, so another breaking up, and I don't, I haven't read Civil War myself yet. It's one I need.
I read it many years ago. I have it back there. We'll have to do it for the channel
I-
at some point.
Yeah, I don't read as much Marvel. Like Marvel stuff, I read in like spurts of stuff I think sound interesting, rather than like me just reading.
I
a
really
lot of
just
it.
read Spider-Man, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I will say with Marvel, kind of an aside, but I read less Marvel now than I used to. Like I think when I first got into comics, I read a lot of Marvel stuff. But I will say, like, at least I've felt this way for a long time. As far as the big two, I think DC just puts out more interesting stuff, unfortunately. And like Marvel, it's way more few and far between of like stuff that I find interesting. And most of the Marvel stuff I find interesting is stuff like this that's like not in continuity. I feel like
Yeah.
when Marvel like is like, oh yeah, fuck it, there's a weird universe over here doing this. I'm like, that's cool. I'll read that.
yeah, honestly, like this is such a weird book to talk about too. Like just saying this because it's out of continuity. It's like completely separate. So it's like it's not your normal Spider-Man being affected. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
this isn't your 616 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Uh, so it is kind of hard to like be like, hey, I I hate this because it does like it kills Mary Jane in a dumb way that I don't like, and they say weird stuff in here. I really don't think like the bad stuff about this comic is like it's bad. I don't know. It's a weird comic to like say I hate because there's weird pacing
I
issues. I
think
would
after
say,
reading it, I wouldn't say that I hate it. It's just okay.
yeah,
It's just okay.
yeah. I would say it's better than some stuff I've read.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
It's better than
it's worse
what
than
was the original episode we tried to do? What is that called? Hearts of
Hearts
Darkness.
of
It's
Darkness.
better than Hearts of Darkness.
Yeah, and Hearts of Darkness sounds like a way more interesting idea.
It sounds more interesting. Like Hearts of Darkness sounds way cooler. Hearts of Darkness, by the way, if for people who don't know, is it's the team up between Punisher, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine.
Yeah,
And it's dumb. It's just dumb. I don't know what to say. It's dumb.
yeah. I hate it, and maybe eventually we'll have to come back and do a review on that.
We'll have to do it one day when I have
Yeah,
the stomach to read that again.
yeah, and you have the second, the finality of
Wait, because I didn't
Hearts
know
of
there was a sequel to that at all. And the fact that
Yeah,
there is a sequel is crazy. And then here's the thing: if they take those three characters and team them up, and it's like a good story, I'm all in.
yeah. There's just some people that like it's like oh you might have a cool idea, but dude, your execution's terrible, and like I hate that they limited this to like oh only this one writer can write it. And I don't know. I guess that's the same thing with Rain. Like it's the same two people. Which
I just think that this writer executes their weird idea so much better.
yeah, and I will say if this guy, I would say this book also would probably be completely differently looked at if they just chose like an iconic spider. Like if Todd McFarlane drew this, dude,
Oh my god,
that'd a
this would be like
completely
one of the
different
top 10 Spider-Man books of all time. That is, I think, part of it too. Is like because it is this writer who I'm not sure has written much other Spider-Man, and not that I know of, and an artist who I also don't know has done like a bunch of Spider-Man. I think maybe because it's this like different team and it's off in its own thing doing something that also lets a lot of people who let's just be honest, there are a lot of people, especially in this internet era that we're in, who make their opinions based off like stupid stuff like creators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think like also because I had opinions about this book before reading it too, so I am not absolved of this. But obviously, a lot of people on the internet just have opinions about things they have no context for. And I would say after reading this book, it is not as bad as people say. I actually think it's worth reading at least once if you're a Spider-Man fan. I don't, and there's a lot of ideas and moments in here that I really like. Actually, as a Spider-Man fan, that I think kind of absolve it of the weird shit. And I think, like we were talking about, it feels like one of those things where it was like a dumb idea that somebody had, or not even a dumb, just like a silly idea that somebody had, and then they started taking it seriously at a certain point.
Yeah, and I will say, like, dude, and I like as much of I like talk bad about the art. Like I said, I think like the villains for the most part look cool. Sandman looks great in this. Like I think he like a gruff looking Sandman, and he looks really really good. And then some like when Spider-Man is doing action sequences, it looks great. And like I know we've been talking bad about the artist, and I know we said this earlier too, but like there are some points where it's like there are some cool scenes. I will say his cityscape scenes too are fucking awesome. Like this,
Yeah, his cities do look great. I was gonna say that
this
earlier too.
awesome this looks awesome.
Yeah. No, there are some scenes. I was like when he puts the blue and red suit on, like it look all the scenes with that Spider-Man look sick.
Yeah. And
Like I think it's
really
very dynamic, very movement like oriented. Like that's how Spider-Man should be.
yeah, definitely. And like I think if the art was maybe like I think that's also one thing that's kind of a problem with this is it's slightly less detailed than most comics. I would say like it's weird because like
It's just stylized. It's just got its own
yeah.
style. It's not
Yeah,
like
which
a
is-
lot of other comics that I've read personally.
yeah,
It honestly reminds me of like a Grant Morrison, like with one of his like weird artists that he pulls sometimes, where they do like weird things with like character faces and character proportions. I'm trying to think of the artist I'm thinking of. Like Justice League JLA Earth 2, like Frank Quietly, kind of like style stuff, it gives me that kind of vibe, which is something I'm not a super big fan of. But I wanted to say, too, I also really like as a Spider-Man fan, and this is to this book's credit as well, and that's why I pulled up this Birth of Venom trade that I have, which I don't even know if this is like the version in print of this, but this is one of my first Spider-Man comics ever. I've had this forever. And so I'm a huge fan of like the original Venom story and all that. And I think the way that it connects specifically to the original era of Venom, like before all of the lore behind Venom, like in modern times and stuff, where like Venom is like, it's like an evil ex-girlfriend for Spider-Man. Like the suit is like obsessed with him and feels like he abandoned it, and that's why it has this hatred for him. That works so well because the Venom thing, before Venom actually talks to Spider-Man, I was kind of like, this is an ass pull. Like, why does Venom have to be the villain? I was almost like kind of disappointed that they went in that direction because it feels like just like for the sake of having everybody in it. Or like all these big characters in it, but I think it actually, once him and Spider-Man get in the room together, that one page, I see if I can find it, where it's just the all black page with just their eyes.
Yeah,
where it explains like why Venom is doing this and all this stuff. That is an awesome page. It's an awesome like setup for all of this, and it kind of like redeems a lot of the story stuff for me.
And I even like that in that part, it's like talks about Eddie Brock dying and everything too. I'm pretty sure in that section too, where it's like also like almost yearns Eddie too. I think it's like a cool thing where it's like this character is like attached to, it's like it's not just a, it's not only Spider-Man. It's still like Spider-Man's the main one, but like it's like just shows attachment to characters that it's connected to, and you could tell it almost doesn't quite have the connection with the character it's with.
Yeah.
Still. Which I think almost...
Well, it's just, he even says, I think, like, I'm using it as a vessel. Like, he says something along the lines of, like, I finally found, like, a host who will just let me do whatever I want, basically.
Yeah.
Like, and I think also the Venom thing is this great duality with the Mary Jane stuff. Because, we get this whole, like, powerful reveal of, like, how much Mary Jane really loved and respected Peter and all this stuff. And it's, like, the polar opposite with the Venom stuff, where it's, like, an evil ex who hates Peter and wants to destroy everything about him for stuff that's really not Peter's fault.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I hate, like... I am interested, because I feel like we've talked about a decent amount about this now. What would you rate this comic?
I would give it, like, a 6.5. I don't think it's, like... Yeah, or like a 6. I'll just give it a solid 6. Because I don't think it's bad. I think it's an interesting idea. I think some parts of it, I'm like, eh. And, like, some of the art stuff here and there also is, like, meh. So, but I'm not going to give it, like, lower than, like, a 5. Because I don't think it's that bad. I think people talk a lot of shit on something they probably haven't read.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd give it, like... Honestly, like, I would probably give it that 6.5. Just because I think there's, like, some really good moments in here.
High highs.
That, like,
high highs.
Yeah. High highs. It has, like, 1 or 2 really low lows. And then, for the most part, it's, like... I would say it's... Yeah, it's probably like a 6 out of 10 for the most part, and then you get like some 9 out of 10 moments.
I also feel like I give it a lot more credit after fully reading it too, just like when I was talking about Venom and MJ and all this stuff, for like clearly this writer knows their Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like really well. Like, because the references and the way that it like gives the fan service and the Easter eggs of like Spider-Man lore, I think is really well done. And I think if you are a Spider-Man fan, you will enjoy this.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how he would write more after like the animosity fans have towards this, and to see if he like pushes away from having that uniqueness and some of it, and like just maybe just put like if he's smart, he just pushes away, keeps the good ideas he had in here, like the really cool stuff, and just pushes away from like that weird.
Well, we'll have to do Reign 2 then at some point. I'm interested. Yeah. I think we should read it, and we'll do it for the channel eventually. Probably, we have a couple episodes scheduled out, so probably a little ways down the line, but...
Yeah. But yeah. I definitely think
what would you... You said 6.5 would be your rating? Sorry.
Yeah, 6.5. I, like, probably at the highest, I'd probably give it a 7. Like, honestly, like, talking about it more,
teetering at a 7, but I think a 6 is better for me, because, like, I don't think I could give it a 7 for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think there's such highs for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, like, there's like a lot of like good comics that are like there at that 7 range. I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't, something like that.
Yeah, in the context of Spider-Man, even in the context of like Elseworldsy Spider-Man stuff, I think this is better than people give it credit for, but I don't think it's like, it's not blowing the doors off anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's quintessential. I think it's, if you like read a lot of Spider-Man, I definitely think it's worth it, and I think it is.
But I read it all in one sitting, and it was enjoyable enough. Like I didn't hate it. I kept reading it. It didn't. I didn't have to put it down.
Yeah, I will say like it's a thing where, at least for me, like I was talking about that second half, like the first half you're kind of reading, you're like, ooh, this is kind of a slog with some good ideas here and
Yeah.
there, but
No,
like
that's
some end,
exactly how I felt. Like I was like
and then you like
slogging
get,
through it.
and then you get to, like through the last two issues, and you're like, damn, like I actually want to keep reading this, and like honestly, if we just got a more, even you could have probably condensed the first two issues into one,
Yeah. I also think it's
and
a
it's
good
been fun.
length too that doesn't overstay its welcome. That's why I'm saying like if it was any longer, I think I would hate it. Or not hate it, but I would
Yeah,
dislike it more. But I think because it's short and sweet, it's like this could be just like a movie. You know what I mean? Like it's like or less. Like it could be like an episode of a TV show.
yeah, yeah. I think my main thing, the only reason I think I'd want to see more is just like because it feels like it gets better over time, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like but it finishes its story pretty well with a couple like weird unresolved issues. I
It's my
guess.
worry about Rain 2 because I know a little bit about it. Like I don't know exactly the details of the story. I just know some things that people have told me about it and that I've read about it.
Yeah,
But it's my worry with Rain 2 that if it is like a time travel thing, because I would rather see more of what happens in this timeline, like going forward.
yeah,
Instead of like going back and trying to like do all kinds of weird stuff. So we'll see. We'll have to read it and we'll have to find out.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I guess there's like some interesting parts, and I don't want to like say kind of like what I would think would happen. Well, I don't want to make myself like spoil it, but I think it would be if you're gonna do time travel stuff, it would be cool if like it was Kingpin finding out like, oh, like maybe this was his grand plan all along to like control New York, and maybe he's just like past his prime in this, and he's like too old, but he like got what he wanted in the end, and like Peter finding out that he could time travel and shit like that. Maybe he tries to save Mary Jane or something like that, and do like that classic trope. But then Kingpin's like, oh, if this happens, I won't get my way,
yeah, yeah.
and like still tries to pull out the killing of Mary Jane. That might be like an interesting story, but I don't know what it is
We'll
overall.
have to see.
Yeah,
It'll be something
so
that we definitely delve into in the future. So, do you have any final closing thoughts before we announce the next book and do a little wrap up?
no, I think I've talked
Yeah.
a lot about it. I think we got a lot.
Yeah, I think I got all I wanted
to.
to say out about it. I mean, it's very interesting. I know before we recorded this and like kind of met a conversation, you were like, I think you're gonna enjoy it more than you think, and I did. I think I hated on it a little much before I'd read it, which is something you shouldn't do. But it's just like being interested in comics for so long, you hear things if you're in the community of comics. And so I had like my biases going in, but I will say, yeah, I think people give it too much shit. So if you haven't read Spider-Man Reign and you somehow got through this entire video and you're interested, I think go read it. Seriously. If you're a Spider-Man, I would say this. If you're not a fan of Spider-Man, you're not going to enjoy this.
Yeah,
It's actually probably going to annoy the fuck out of you. Even if you're just like a passive, like you think Spider-Man's okay, but he's not really your guy. But if you're a Spider-Man fan, which I think honestly most like superhero fans are probably Spider-Man fans to some extent, I would say give this a read. I think it's interesting. It's no Dark Knight Returns, but it's its own thing that I think is worth it on its own merits.
yeah.
For sure. And so, yeah, that's Spider-Man Reign. That's our January episode for Tales from the Shelf. Tales for the Shelf. Tales from the Shelf. If you enjoyed this, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let's have a discussion in the comments if anybody's willing. And yeah, next month we're going to be reading Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Absolute Batman. So Volume 2 actually comes out next month, so that's kind of why we're doing it that way. And there are only 6 issues, so we decided to combine them together and do an episode on both. I was going to pull the first volume, but I don't want to reach back there again. So
Yeah, and I only have the single issue, so I would have a time pulling those out right now.
yeah, you're all good. So yeah, Absolute Batman Volume 1, The Zoo, and Volume 2, I do actually forget what it's called, but the first 2 volumes of Absolute Batman will be next month's episode. So watch out for that. Also, around the time that this video goes up, should also be the first episode of the new kind of sister podcast, Fresh Takes, that I'm doing with my other buddy who doesn't read comics, and I'm kind of getting him into reading comics. And that episode's going to be The Long Halloween, because this will probably come out first. So check that out as well. Don't forget to check out Boss Nasty Gaming, where we do video game stuff, Spillage Studios, where we talk about movies. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Any closing thoughts? Any goodbyes you want to say?
No, just Read it, like you said. Read it if you like Spider-Man. Definitely overhated. That's all I gotta say.
For sure. Keep reading. Stay safe. Peace.
Peace.